Hello and welcome back to the Publishing Push channel. Here we focus on helping authors with their publishing journey, giving you tools, tips, resources, and important industry knowledge to help you push your book and your writing career forward. If you don't already, please make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, of course subscribe here on YouTube. Do please like the video if you enjoy it. It helps tremendously so we can share it with more authors. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the publishing process, and I'm going to split it down step by step. So from book submission right through to publishing, what the steps are. This will apply whether you are DIY, if you're doing it all yourself, if you're using a self-publishing company such as ourselves, or if you are going the traditional route. These processes, these steps will remain relatively the same. There might be a few small changes here and there, but this will give you a good overview and a good understanding of the steps involved. Step one is of course quite self-explanatory. It's your manuscript. So the most important part of this entire process is making sure that we have a manuscript to start with, or you have a manuscript to start with. And of course, from there, we can then do the next step. So what we need is for that manuscript to be submitted. Of course, it doesn't have to be polished. By no means should a first draft be polished, but we have the submission, the story is there, all the main elements are there, and then it can go from there on to the next steps. Step two is editing. So this is where an editor will go through your book and of course help you with the elements that can be improved upon. And all books will have elements that can be improved upon. As the author, often we get very deep into the book, we understand the story intimately, but the editor is a checkpoint to just say, you could explain this character in more depth, this scene in particular doesn't make sense, I think you need more dialogue here or less dialogue there. They're just going to help you mold it from a great story into a fantastic book. If you choose to work with a company such as ourselves, publishingpush.com, we actually provide a free review service at the start of the process where we will actually review the first 10,000 words of your book and give you honest feedback about whether you need proofreading, editing. Not all books need it. There's no obligation. You can take that information and do with it as you wish, or of course, if you choose to work with us, fantastic. On to step number three. So step number three is proofreading. And all these elements are crucial to the success of your book, but proofreading is often quoted by readers as one of the biggest turnoffs. So if they're going through a book and they find a huge number of errors, just an avalanche of errors, typos, things like that, they're going to switch off really fast. And what may have been a 5-star review because they really like the story, the characters, could end up being a 3-star review or potentially worse just because there were so many typos and issues, and we've seen this happen. So proofreading is something that we really encourage authors to spend the money on. For example, most authors wouldn't dream of creating their own cover design because they're not designers. Similarly, a proofreader is a specialist profession. So they have a way, a technique, they've been trained, they know how to proofread really well, they go line by line. So I would highly recommend that you invest in that service. It is worth the money. Step number 4 is of course your book cover. So your book cover is what is going to draw readers into your book when they are, on Amazon, they're scrolling, looking for something that jumps out, captures their attention. That is your book cover. So the way to think about your book cover is it's really the front door that lets people in, and then they will take a look, see what the blurb is about, the description, look at your reviews, and then of course make a decision, should I buy this book or not? So book cover is extremely important. Again, don't try and do this yourself unless you're a very talented designer. Leave this up to an expert designer who can design something incredible for you. Step number 5 is interior formatting or typesetting. We actually have a full video all about typesetting and the 10 rules you need to follow when typesetting your book. Link up here, ding. to go ahead and watch that video, but not until, of course, we have finished all the steps in the publishing process. Typesetting is really important because, again, this is going to determine how much someone enjoys your book from how readable the book is. So it's often something that we overlook because we think, well, the story is fantastic, that's going to carry people through. But actually, if, as we mentioned before, with proofreading, there are errors. If the typesetting isn't well done, again, you will come up against this problem where there's just too much resistance, and so people will think, oh, this is too much effort, and again, you might get a bad review because of it. Typesetting as well is incredibly important. If you have images in your book, more graphics, it's more heavy from a design perspective. There are tools and apps and things like that that will help you with, you know, your average 70,000 word text novel, but even those, I have seen the books that have come out of them. It's just, you know, again, it's something that's not worth saving that little bit of money. You're much better off having a professional do this, and then you know it's going to look fantastic when it is released. Step number 6 is approval. So if you're working with us, and this will be the case with most other companies, and of course, if you're doing it yourself, well then it's only you who will be approving your own work. But if you work with us, we get to the approval process, and that is where authors then approve the cover design and the interior files, and they say, yes, I'm happy with those. They've seen a PDF proof, so they've seen a PDF proof copy of the book, so they know how it's going to look when it is released. And approval, of course, is really important because it lets us know we can move on to the next steps. If you're enjoying this video, please do make sure to subscribe, turn the notification bell on, click like if you are enjoying the video, and go and check out some of our other videos. We have a huge amount of videos to help authors. We also have some author resources in the links down below, free resources on book marketing, and a legal guide as well for self-published authors. Step number 7 is the upload. So the upload is where the book is uploaded to distributors. So we upload the book onto a variety of distribution websites, and then the book gets sent out to retailers. The upload to the distributor is, of course, incredibly important. That's where we input all the metadata. That is where we input your keywords, your description, and we set the ink quality, paper quality, sizing, all these different elements. This is where it all really comes together. We also add your pricing in there, and it's at this stage that we can give you accurate pricing on, you know, what your book is going to be sold for, what your royalties are going to be, all those different elements. We can then be really accurate at that point. The reason, and this is on a slightly different tangent, but the reason we can't give completely accurate pricing until the end, we can give an estimate, but it's because the price of ink, paper, due to supply and demand, is always fluctuating. So you will get variations from time to time. So when we potentially quote for work and quote for producing a book, the price to print that book may have changed a little bit by the time it gets published. That just gives you some idea. Again, comment below if you'd like a full video on how the pricing economics work. Okay, step number 8 is then distribution. So this is where the book is live with retailers. If you're working with a company like ourselves, we publish to Amazon, Waterstones, Smiths, Barnes & Noble, Walmart. The list is absolutely endless. There's a full list on our website of all the outlets that we publish to. Again, I'll pop a link down below, but that is where it hits retailers' websites, and of course people can actually go and purchase the book. Again, working with a company like ourselves, they will actually be able to purchase in store as well. We hope you have enjoyed this video about the publishing process and the steps involved. If you have any other questions related to the contents of this video, drop us a comment below. Again, like, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.